What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Conversation Lab, our unplayable podcast all about your favorite game, Star Wars Unlimited. I'm here with Jim and Jay. No Mike today, unfortunately, but no Mike. He's on full dad mode. But Jim, how are you doing this week?
I'm great. I've actually been able to play lots of games for the first time ever. It feels like still bad at this game, but it's been fun.
Jay,
nice. Yeah, same here. I stream pretty much daily as the work from home crowd. That's what they call it in our Discord. So this is a good chance for you to join our Discord because you can hop into streams and watch me play daily Star Wars Unlimited games, and then you can learn from the best.
There you go. Your training for Galactic Championship begins today.
Yep.
Very exciting.
And free of charge. There is no subscription fees. Just hop on in there and I'll coach you.
I love it. Yeah, awesome, guys. Well, let's jump into our week in SWU. What you guys been doing? What you been playing? Have you been out to any tournaments or leagues or anything like that?
Just locals for me. I haven't been doing any tournaments. I don't really have any tournaments lined up. It's a kind of a fiasco in South Florida. There's like 3 store showdowns scheduled for Mother's Day weekend, one on Mother's Day, and it's like I'm out of town. Most people can't do Mother's Day weekend for stuff like this, so it's just a joke. And then last weekend there was one that was hosted and the store didn't tell anybody. They didn't like promote it or anything because they just wanted their locals to be there. So I didn't get to go to that one, even though I am technically a local. I'm just not a usual, so I never found out about it. Ugh. There's some store showdowns towards the beginning of March that I may be able to attend. Or sorry, June. The beginning of June that I may be able to attend.
The game released back in March.
What kind of count are y'all running down there in Florida?
Exactly. The beginning of June that I may be able to attend, but I'm not I'm not like necessarily in grind mode for those or anything like that.
Yeah, I've just been doing locals myself as well. Really just throwing whatever decks together. Yeah, I haven't been able to make any store showdowns yet because they all are on weekends that are not great. So like the one weekend I'm out of town, of course, that's when the one I go to every week is hosting there. So I'm like, see what y'all are doing. But I'll make it to one.
Yeah, for me, it's been mostly just casual games. Haven't played in a tournament in a long time. But tomorrow is my first store showdown that I'm able to go to. And I have no idea when this will post. But tomorrow, I finally get to get a little sweaty and get a little way too into a game that makes...
I do not want to be there if that's what you're going to be doing.
Like it's like one of those like, oh, my heart beats a little faster with these kind of competition, but I'm excited. So that's what I've been playing for. I just played some games with Jim, landed took my son to school, landed at a coffee shop and played a bunch of games right before this and learning a lot. I feel like where my head is at with this game is every time I start to feel like, okay, I think I can see the matrix of the matchups and the lines of play, I hear something or I watch a video and I'm like, I still know nothing about this game after all this time. Like there's this next layer of depth and skill. I mean, even just sideboarding alone. Listening to other people talk about their sideboards is honestly impressive. I want to get to that level of skill in this game where I can be like, oh yeah, in this matchup you definitely take these out, you definitely put these in, because I don't have that level of even with how many games we've played, I don't have that level of definitely this is how you do it. And maybe I just need to play 100 games with the same deck and I'll get there. But
you must be talking about my Sabine Yellow deck.
Yeah, I was watching your video. I was like, wow, Jay's so smart, and I just wish I was on his level.
Yeah.
Gosh, I think
a lot of people do. So
can it just be a like Jay hype podcast? Just all we're here to do is just affirm him.
Yep.
Comment section, just affirm Jay.
Listen, we all know it was Mike who was keeping Jay down, so we'll make this video all about Jay.
Perfect.
And that's so good.
Well, we can congratulate Mike because in his week in SWU, he won a win-a-case tournament or win-a-box tournament or whatever it was with the double yellow Boba last weekend.
Yeah.
Good job, Mike.
Congratulations to Mike. Unplayable's first tournament win.
We're on the board. Honestly, though, like we knew it was going to be Mike.
And knew it wasn't going to be me.
That's right.
I won a pre-release tournament. Does that count?
No, I won one of those. That's
All right.
trash.
Took down
I won
two of
like
them.
3 of those.
But still very good.
Thank you. Well, let's jump in. Let's see, where do we want to start? Let's start with this. We got some. Listen, guys, it's May. Today is May 10th when we're recording. It's almost summer, which means we're fully in spring, and we need to do some spring cleaning. There's a lot of trash in the room, a lot of trash on this podcast, on all of our content. We got to clean up some trash takes, okay?
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back in our minds, in our history, and acknowledge the bad trash takes that we had early on when the game was revealed and the set was released, and anything that you feel like you need to own up to and said, I publicly stated this card was bad, it's actually good, or I thought this was not fun and it is fun, or Jeddah City is a waste of an action and it's actually a good action.
That's a good example right there.
So we're gonna go around the horn and we'll just see how many takes we need to clean up. It's spring cleaning time, boys.
Yep. I think
wants to
it's
start?
totally valid to go back and reevaluate either tiers or ratings that we gave cards and see what they stack up to with how the game has shaped out. I mean, when a set first drops, you're not going to know every possibility, like especially with a new game. This is a new game and it has different rules than any of the other games that we've ever experienced besides maybe Destiny because of the just system that this is built on. It's not like Lorcana, you can do a direct comparison to something like Magic the Gathering because it's the same concept. This is different. This is not the same kind of game.
Yeah.
So I think it's valid, and it's probably studious and good for you to go back and review things like this.
Yeah.
So
And a good reminder that as set 2 is starting to be revealed, we're all gonna have bad takes.
exactly.
Our tier lists are perfect. I don't know what you're talking
They're
about.
definitive. They are still definitive. But
Just because the meta changed doesn't mean our takes did.
yeah.
I can start. I think the first take, I just thought healing was terrible in this game. I thought like extra health on bases or restore or vigilance healing 5. I just thought it was horrible. I think I saw the card repair and I was like, why would I ever want to do that? And I think I've realized, especially with the draw 2 and having multiple things you can do, that like finding a way to stabilize on the board and winning that way is a totally viable strategy that initially I thought you were just going to get steamrolled. I feel like in a lot of games, it's like, cool, I healed 5. And it's like, well, my board does 15, so congratulations. But I think there's a lot of unique breakpoints that you can get to. And I think currently in the control fun meta that we've been seeing recently with Vigilance everywhere, you just see how powerful that heal 5 can be. So that was, I think, my initial take that I was like, yeah, it just wasn't it.
Solid.
I feel that. I mean, I could do direct, like, pinpoint. I mean, I'm looking at our legendary tier list right now. I think we were right on most stuff. I don't think we were that far off of like actually being right with pretty much all of these cards. There's a couple that could be tweaked. So Vigilance we had at B. That's definitely at minimum an A now. I still think it's worse than Cunning. I think Cunning is still better. And I think people are starting to see, because we're seeing Cunning a lot more. Like Vigilance for 6 started being really popular. Now we're seeing Cunning both in like double yellow Boba, but also being played for 6 and stuff like Han Solo decks. And I still think Cunning for 6 is really strong. So Cunning's still better than Vigilance, but Vigilance I would bump up to at least an A, maybe an S minus, but I'm still leaning towards A compared to Cunning. That's one. Mace Windu we put in B. He's like not being played. That's probably a D. Probably a D. I think the only reason we put him as B is because it's Mace Windu. And I've rated him an S just because of based on general principle.
Yeah. He just I think his problem is that
Red Hero is not the kind of deck that goes to 7.
Right. And the one that does is like the cheer red shell, but you want Luke at 7 and Redemption at 8, so there's just no room for Mace. I have had some conversations with people like when they're running the blue red hero shell, if they don't have Luke, I think Mace is like an easy replacement to slot there. It's not as good, but it definitely fits the vibe there. But yeah, we definitely don't see it, which is sad thinking Store Showdowns are handing out Mace Windu's, maybe we'll start seeing more Mace because people have more access to them. We'll see.
Be sweet.
Yeah, home one we put as a C, and I think we're
Wow.
seeing that like late game control decks like Han Green or what other late game like hero Luke Green are
Luke
all
Green's
running
popular.
home one, and home one is actually super clutch, being able to bring stuff back from the graveyard, especially against stuff like Avenger. If you're
Yeah.
having to play against other blue villain control decks, being able to put 2 things on board is super relevant.
Yep.
So I would bump that out. I don't know what I'd bump it up to. I'd bump it up from C to either B or A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's kind of right on the verge too.
And the only unplayable we put was Black One.
Still holds true.
Do you guys still think Black One is unplayable?
In set 1, yes. I could see it being
People are playing Black
Playable.
One and Sabine Yellow and doing well with it.
Really?
Surprise, you do sneak attack. Like when you're running out of cards, you sneak attack it in, hit for 4, and
So it
refresh
comes out
your
at
hand.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I could see it. I don't know if that's like
And Mike was running it in Han Red, although we haven't
He
really
was.
seen Han Red do anything big. Most Han decks we're seeing are Han Green.
Yeah. I still don't think it's a great card. I still like maybe bump it up to a D or C, but I still don't think it's awesome.
Yeah. So in honor of what underrating cards, I don't know that by the time we rated these cards, I think we had more data, but I'm thinking back to like when we first saw these cards.
Yeah.
There were 2 in Green Hero, the Rogue Squadron Skirmisher, and U-Wing Reinforcement. I feel
Oh
like
yeah. Yeah. We slept on Ewing early.
criminally
We
underrated.
definitely slept on Ewing early.
Yeah. And Rogue Squadron Skirmisher isn't like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. But I think we're learning that recursion. I mean, not to be shocked because every card game is like this, but recursion is good. And when there are decks out there that's just murdering your units every time you play something, to be able to get that back and have some options where you can get more Battlefield Marines out. I mean, I think that's really great. So I just think nobody was on U-Wing Reinforcement in the first time.
Ooh, I got a good one that we underrated too. I put Devotion in like all of my blue decks now. I just love that card.
that's fascinating.
Especially if
on
I'm
your
playing,
Moisture Farmers.
especially if I'm playing a control-y hero deck. And like I mean, even villain, like just like throwing down a TIE fighter when your opponent's going all ground and giving it a devotion to swing the next 3 or 4 turns and heal you a bunch of damage is just like sick.
Yeah.
So devotion, I think, was and probably still is kind of slept on.
Okay. I do like the idea of Devotion on a TIE fighter that can just murder A-Wings and also restore. It's pretty sweet.
Well,
a lot
I
of
can murder
resources, but-
one A-wing because it only has 2 health, even with a devotion on it. But you could
I'd
give
say-
it to like an Inferno 4 or something, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
put it
yeah,
somewhere.
even better. Yeah. My next spring cleaning take is when I saw Cheer It revealed, I thought I got angry. I was so mad that FFG did my boy dirty again
Such
after
a
what
bad
happened
card.
in
What
Star
are you
Wars
thinking?
Destiny. Like I literally thought, I was like, why would I ever play this? This is stupid. And now it's the only deck I like to play. Right now. Like I am realizing my dream is I
Yep.
just want to be the Cheer It main. So it's
I've
hard
been
for
playing
me
a
to-
lot of Turret lately, and I originally did not like Turret hardly at all. But there's 2 reasons behind Turret being cool. I don't think he's ever going to be S tier or like top of the meta, tier 1, whatever you want to call it. I think he's going to constantly be a strong deck, kind of like Double Green Hera, where it's like it's never going to be tier 1, but it's really strong and can catch you off guard. It's probably it's still better than Double Green Hera in my opinion, but I don't think he'll ever be like the best deck. He's fun to play because he enables the Voltron, your leader, without being punished, unless
Yep.
they have takedown. Like there's only one answer to Turret, and it's you flip them out and they play takedown. Other than that, like being able to just Voltron him up is sick, and he doesn't die. Plus, you have ways to remove or heal damage. The other thing is I'm playing Green Turret, and he's the ultimate steadfast deck because he doesn't die when he flips, unless they're playing takedown. So you can guarantee doing ECL steadfast on the turn that Turret flips, which is really
sweet.
fun.
It's a good point. Jim tried to play a Leia deck against me, and he tried to steadfast me, but I forced through a Luke at his Leia to kill her before he could do it.
I'm out here playing Green Leia, and he's like, yeah, I forced through my Luke at you. I'm like, bro, it's Green Leia.
Welcome to your masterclass, Jim. What else?
Takes that we had that are bad.
I've got another one.
Let's hear it.
All right. I thought Avenger was too slow.
Ain't no way. I always knew that was a good card.
I just felt like, okay, you get it, you kill something, But I think I underrated how much you'd be able to control the board up to the point of dropping an Avenger. And now Avenger, I mean, we saw at the Florida 5K. I think Avenger is a massive reason that deck wins because there are just so few answers to Avenger.
Well, even just like Super Laser Blast is 8 and Avenger is 9. So unless they're able to refill the board with like Ewing, you're gonna probably punish them pretty hard.
Yeah, but I remember seeing it like, okay, yeah, maybe this will be okay. That's in some deck, but I criminally underrated Avenger very early on. I think recently, obviously, it's been pretty obvious.
Childson was seeing like zero play until the Vader Blue deck became popular.
So we just underrated all the blue cards, is what I'm hearing.
I think we underrated blue villain, or I guess just control in general, probably.
I'm trying to look through real quick as well, see if there's any other ones.
Do you need to take back your take on the Consular Security Force, Jim?
No, I'm good with it. I think it's fine.
The 4-cost 3/7? Okay.
I'm not seeing anything jumping out right now that's like, I super underrated that besides the ones that we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Oh, Fighters for Freedom was one I thought was stupid at first, for sure. I thought it was too slow to actually see play in like the aggro lists, but that thing is just a staple in every single one.
Emperor's Legion, the 2-cost green villain event, return each unit your discard pile is defeated this phase. I
It still doesn't really see that much play.
I think Boba Green likes to play it specifically for the control matchup, like having an answer to the Super Laser Blast and all that. I think I thought like this card will just never see the table, which is a shame because the art is legit. But I actually do think it has some pretty important roles to play.
Yep.
Oh, I remember thinking Agent Callus was like the hot stuff. Like no green deck would ever
I never liked
be
that
off
card.
of Callus, and now I can't remember the last time I saw Callus played.
I thought that like going into the set, I wasn't low on Spark of Rebellion, but I wasn't like this card needs to be in every yellow hero deck.
Yeah.
And once I started prepping Sabine Yellow, we got on Spark of Rebellion really, really early against the control decks. And me and Mike were like, yeah, this card is gas. And that's why I ended up main decking 3 of them going into the Orlando 5K. And now it's like, you see everybody main decking Spark of Rebellion in their yellow hero decks. I mean, even in double blue, Iden is running Spark of Rebellion for 6.
Which is crazy. I remember...
Wait, what?
Double blue Iden is running Spark of Rebellion and playing it for 6.
For the control mirror.
To rip their restocks and vigilances.
Wow.
I mean, the Green Hera deck was the first deck I built, and I cut Spark of Rebellion as a Spectre card. And I was just like, this thing's trash. Why would you ever play it? So I'm right there with you of like, I just did not think targeted removal like that was ever going to be worthwhile. It is now in my Hera decks.
Yeah. I thought we might see more Imperial decks, like Veers plus all the Imperials.
Yeah.
Or like a Tarkin deck, and it's just like it has not came together at all.
No.
What do y'all think is the reason for that? Of like, why is Rebels so prominent for every hero deck, but Imperial is not?
My theory is that because you've got Snowtrooper at 2 and TIE Advanced at 4, and then you've got Wing Leader at 3 and Fleet Lieutenant at 3. So I think based on the curve that you want to hit, it's so much easier to drop something turn 1 and then turn 2 Fleet Lieutenant or Wing Leader for just this aggro take. Like the Imperial thing can drop a Veers, but it's a little slow because it's just +1, and then Veers could just die immediately to a Battlefield Marine or Sabine or whatever. And so I just think the curve is weird. Like it almost, I don't know. I get why they did the 2 and the 4 instead of like mirroring the 3 and the 3 for Rebels, but I think that's why.
I think there's also like the hero leaders are better aggro leaders. Sabine and Leia are just like way better than Tarkin as an aggro hero, or we pretty much like Grand Inquisitor coming out at 6 would be the other aggro hero or elite villain, I guess. Like there aren't really any strong aggro villains right now. I feel like Boba, because his spike turn would be like the only, but I still consider him more of a mid-range deck. Maybe double yellow Boba is aggro-y, but still feels a little mid-rangey. So like, why would you ever play a villain aggro deck when the heroes leaders are just way better? They also just have way better tools like K2SO and 4 Cause. Like those two cards right there. Like if you're wanting to play aggro, those are the best cards in the game.
Yeah. Maximum firepower doesn't have the same feel to it for the Imperial synergy.
No.
Yeah, it will be.
Makes sense.
It will be very interesting to see how the Imperial and Rebel tags get fleshed out in future sets, and to see like what we'll be coming back to in set 2, set 3, set 4, and saying like, oh, this just unlocked this one deck or whatever. I would love to see more Tarkin out there. I love Tarkin, but you just don't see Tarkin doing well.
I still think he's good. It's just he needs more pieces. Next set, he's getting those droid commandos or whatever they're called, the Dark Troopers. That's what they are.
Yeah,
Dark Troopers. Those might be kind of sick in a Tarkin list.
I'm excited about that card.
We'll see. There's a couple Imperials coming next set that we've seen for villains.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Moff Gideon is the starter deck guy, and he is Imperial, so
yeah,
that could be interesting. Well, speaking of next set, let's move on. We've done our spring cleaning. We vacuumed the floors, we scrubbed the toilets, we cleaned the shower door.
All good.
I think we're ready to clear out the old trash and fill it back in with all the new stuff. So let's talk about set 2 for a second. We've had Shadows of the Galaxy previews, spoilers dropping like crazy. Like every time we try to record a spoiler video, there's like 8 more within an hour. So, which is insane. But thinking like we're really, it's May 10th. So we got 2 months until set 2 drops, and we have 62 cards out of 260.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
So
that's kind of crazy.
2 months, 200 cards left. So that's pretty wild. If you want to see our takes on individual cards, be sure to go on YouTube if you're listening on audio here and check out our spoiler videos. You can hear our take. Well, you can't hear my takes on some of them because these guys went and had a 5-minute discourse on McClounky. But let's talk in generalities. So we've hit specific cards. Let's talk generalities about set 2. What's getting you excited now that you're seeing kind of more of the reveals? What's got you excited? What has your interest? Are you already thinking about specific decks you want to mentally build once the card set is more revealed, or are you just like I don't care about any of this until I know the whole card pool?
I think that one thing that excites me about next set is the not competitive side of it. Like just building a bounty hunter deck with bounties seems like just such a cool kitchen table, have fun deck.
Yeah.
So I'm super stoked about that. Or even just the twin suns that you can do with all of this stuff is going to be super sick. So non-competitively, just the theme and mechanics of the set excite me for both kitchen table and twin suns, which is fun. Always fun.
Because you also have the whole Bad Batch theme as well. So you've got Mandalorians, you got bounty hunters, you got Bad Batch. Like there's something in there for every Star Wars fan, I feel like. And our very own Jeg, get this, our very own Jim watched how many episodes of Bad Batch last night?
5 whole episodes.
Wow.
I know. 3 hours of my night was Bad Batch Star Wars.
Let's go. Is that season 1?
Oh yeah, first 5.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we just started.
Let's go.
I'm just so proud of you, man.
Thanks, means a lot.
You're growing up before our eyes.
It's like, hey, I've seen these characters on cards before. This is wonderful.
Yeah. What else, Jim? What about you?
The new mechanics do excite me. This game feels like there's supposed to be a lot of like action cheating and being efficient on your turns, where it feels like this set is almost encouraging you to do a lot of paper cut type things with the bounties and seeing how that all works. So I'm curious if that holds true for like the game play and style of decks that will be coming from this. But I love a lot of different decisions. Like I love it when it's like, okay, I do this and this and this and this and can sequence it all together. Just so my opponent's going like, wait, what just happened? That part's really fun for me. However, I don't know if decks that just go faster will just still be better. So if there's lines of play that really like benefit those kind of decision-making pieces, I'll be really excited.
We're just seeing very cool freaking characters coming this set.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
Chrysanthemum, Jango Fett, Dengar and the Punishing One, Wrecker, Echo. Like these are just the Armorer and Mando. Like
it's not Balatique.
So cool. It's not Balatic.
It's not. and
But
the
we did
hired
get
muscle
Doctor
generic.
Evazon or whatever.
As the card of the set so far, potentially.
He's our politic.
I mean, you're totally right. I think they chose characters that if you've been sleeping on Unlimited, you look over on the table, you're like, oh gosh, that looks cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I tweeted this, but when I was a kid, I remember the first non-movie Star Wars thing I ever did was I got this book called Tales of the Bounty Hunters, and I just read all those stories about Boba Fett and IG-88 and Dengar and Bosk and 4LOM and Zuckuss.
Yeah.
And if you told me at that age that I'd be able to play a game with like those guys, I mean, it's just fulfilling all my childhood dreams. I just think that's so yeah, on the theme side, man, yeah, come on. Like, I can't wait to play some of this stuff. Also, just seeing all these reveals, the other thing is I'm really excited for limited play again. Like, drafting and sealed. Because with obviously the lack of product now,
if we
it's hard.
even get to do drafts.
Well, true. Yeah. But I had so much fun with set 1 drafts. And I think set 2 draft is going to be fascinating because then you're playing within a just set 2. Bounties are going to matter. Then you got to decide, okay, do I get the units that have a bounty on the card already? Because that might actually enhance something on the other side of, like Jango Fett. All of a sudden, now he doesn't have to work that hard to throw a bounty on my guy. And do I play that? Do I not? Like, that's the kind of stuff that I think is going to be really fun in a, like enclosed environment, I guess set 2 only kind of environment. I think that's going to be super fun. So I'm pumped to do that.
Like, yeah, and pre-release is going to be sick. I'm going to be going to some pre-releases, getting some pre-release kits.
Yeah.
I want to see the pre-release promos for Gideon and Mando. See what they look like.
Oh, did they say they're doing that? I guess.
I mean, I'm assuming they're doing it just like set 1, right?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Do you guys have any early favorites for leaders you want to build around?
Leaders?
Yeah, we only
Mando,
have
for sure.
6 right now. We've got Moff Gideon, Boba Fett, Hunter, Bosk, Bo-Katan, Mandalorian.
All right, if I had to do a tier list of like who I'm most excited, not
Dangerous.
Not power level, just like a list of like 1 is the most excited to play, and then go down to 6. I would be like Mando is number 1, and then maybe Bosk, Gideon, Boba Fett, Hunter, Bo-Katan.
Wow.
What about you, Jim?
Yeah, I'm looking as well. I mean, Bosk does seem really cool. I don't know if the bounties are going to be strong enough to be like double bounty. This is the greatest thing ever. But Bo-Katan actually does seem fun to me because I want that kind of like paper cut style of play to actually work. So if it I'm going to spend a lot of time trying to make it work. I already know it may still not be great, but those are the kind of like deck building puzzles that I really enjoy. So yeah, I put a lot of effort there.
I think for me, I'm looking at this list of leaders. Honestly, I think the new Boba Fett hero, like,
Interesting.
it's in one of my favorite colors. He's a hero.
I mean, it's spicy.
Boba Fett.
I've said this play. I've said this play like 3 times in Discord, but because he's yellow or not yellow, because he's green hero, you can play U-wing and you can pull out the Fett's fire spray that is yellow villain, and it comes in ready.
Oh yeah, okay, that's okay. I'm sold.
That's all he needed.
That's awesome.
That's all he needed.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I mean, anything. Obviously, now like U-wing reinforcement, you see green hair, you're like, oh yeah, let's go. Let's do some U-wing nonsense.
Yeah, and you just put Fett's fire spray in there, and it's an easy job, dude.
I do like that. Oh god.
Well, I just think like for him, just everything with ambush will get. Well, not everything. I guess not. If he's on his leader side, he couldn't do it multiple times in a round. He can only do it once. But essentially,
you're probably not playing multiple ambush characters in a round anyway.
Right. Mm-hmm. But that
giving all
Sentinel,
your ambush people +1 is probably pretty sick.
But or even just imagine dropping an echo-based defender who now has 5 power and 3 health as Sentinel on second turn. So if Sabine drops at 4 and you drop this thing, if Sabine attacks, Sabine dies. You know, so you present some real tough, some tough possibilities. So I'm excited to give him a try.
Yeah. I mean, like Overwhelm's going to work with it. Grid's going to work with like all of those cool pieces that there's enough, like keywords are easy to build around, I think, and you can take it a lot of different directions. So it's like, do you just throw every good keyword card together? Do you have a theme with which keywords you're focusing on? There's a lot of cool things for sure.
You know who I'm not excited about?
Talk to us.
Hunter.
Yeah.
This guy.
I don't understand. I don't understand it, and maybe I will one day. But there's so much text and there's so much going on. I don't understand what's going on here.
I don't think anyone's excited about Hunter, but I am gonna play it.
I know I want to, because Hunter. I mean, just Bad Batch, all the things.
Someone pointed out his showcase is probably gonna be sick.
Oh yeah.
That's especially if they go no helmet for him. But I don't know if they will.
I feel like they give the same prompt for showcases. At least they did a set one. So I'm wondering if they switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, you're right.
They're more likely to put a Hunter without a helmet on because he's already a cartoon than they are to do the Mandalorian and have to have the rights for Pedro Pascal. There was a Star Wars game that FFG did. I think it's Outer Rim maybe. And one of the characters in that game, the guy that is in The Last Jedi, he's in the prison whenever
DJ?
Oh,
DJ. What's that guy's name in real life?
Oh, gosh.
Benicio del Toro.
Yes.
They didn't have the rights to him, so they like put a shadow on DJ's face so you couldn't see his face. Or it was some game that did that. It was pretty funny.
That is incredible.
Like that. Yeah, and I am excited for Mandalorian. I feel like we've seen him for so long that he's kind of lost a little bit of his appeal, but gosh, to play a yellow hero that isn't Han, and obviously isn't Jin, which I don't know. I realize I have not built any yellow hero decks since the game's been out.
And assuming it's like set 1, we're going to have 3 yellow heroes this set because Mando's a starter.
Oh, good point.
So we still got 2 more yellow heroes.
Okay.
So maybe yellow hero will actually have some options after this set.
Yeah.
Could be.
All right, let's move on to some Convo Lab questions. This is just a channel in our Discord where people get to ask us questions and get our feedback. So I'm going to throw some questions at you guys. I don't know how to say Sprenger Mon. I don't know how to say it. Ask, best use of your time when getting a buy round? Is it okay to watch other games being played? Can I point out missed force rules or legal plays? Example, my friend was playing Boba Green last night at a tournament, forgot to trigger Vader's when played ability to search his deck for a card. I said nothing and neither player caught it.
Okay, yeah. So definitely fine to go around and watch people like hyper competitive players definitely do scouting at tournaments. Mm-hmm. I play aggro so that I'm done with my game in 15 minutes. I'm done with my round in 15 minutes. I can go use the restroom. I can go watch other games and do some scouting, and I can just like sit there. I usually just sit there, put my headphones in, listen to music, and decompress my brain. Maybe drink some water. I know some people say soda. I don't drink soda and all the sugar, but I understand why, because it's good for your brain. I just don't drink that stuff, so I drink water. And if you do see somebody make a mistake, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's totally legal to say this guy was supposed to do this, but most people don't. It's kind of like taboo.
It's tricky. I feel like
if a judge sees it during like an online, like top table, they say something.
I think it's the difference between like a may ability and a must ability. So it's like if it's an actual like missed rule, I think I would say something. Be like, hey, actually, but
like if you ambush in and you don't take the damage, I think you have to point that out.
Yeah.
But if it's something that says may, I think you're totally right.
Yeah, I think people are so worried about like seeming like a jerk, and it's like it's all about your tone, like how they receive it's kind of up to them in a sense. Like if you're being a jerk about it and just being like, hey, you messed this up, rather than like, shoot guys, I saw this, I think you all missed that. Just want to make sure like the game state's in the right spot, because otherwise they're not playing Star Wars Unlimited, they're playing their version of the game. And so especially if it's like a tricky one, like I remember the Darth Vader triggers early on in this game, like a lot of people were just messing up the ordering and how that works, and so you don't want them to keep thinking that through. Destiny, I remember the first big tournament I went to, guy was playing like Han Solo with his blaster and he messed up like a trigger with it, and he was like, well dang, I built my entire deck around this working this way and it doesn't work that way. So there's a lot of good reasons to correct, even if it feels like they may think you're a jerk for the time being.
Yeah, I would say a couple of things. I think where this game is happening is important. So if I'm at my locals with people I play with weekly and there's very low stakes, and I'm sitting there, I usually know both players. I'll say, hey, don't forget don't forget this or whatever. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing. I think based on I don't know, the reputation I have in those places. I think people can
For
trust
sure.
like there's integrity here. I think if I was at a 1K, 5K kind of vibe, I don't think I would interfere because
Right.
but I might tell a judge and just say, "Hey, I just noticed this. It might just be a one-off, but just want to make sure that you're aware that it happened or these things are happening." Hopefully, you know, again, both players are responsible for the game state. So if they're missing things that you have to do, then both players can essentially be penalized for that. But the May stuff, you have to let go. If it's a May, like, you just do not interfere at all. Like, I think that's the one rule that we can all agree with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
somebody-
gosh, it's tough. Go ahead.
I'd say if somebody like forgets to like deploy their leader on the correct turn, like there could be a reason for that. Like maybe they're holding super laser blast. So you saying like, oh, you could deploy your leader. That's not cool. Don't do that. Yeah, especially if you're backseat
if I
piloting.
don't know the people playing, I'm definitely not saying anything. But if it's a friend of mine and it's not, if it like you said, if it's a May trigger, you don't say anything. If it's something like a unit died but they forgot to remove it from the board, then definitely like go get a judge and just bring them over.
Yeah. I also think in those scenarios, I think he mentioned, oh, he forgot the Vader when played trigger. In my mind, that sounds like a newer player. So probably what I would do is right after the game is over, I'd be like, hey, man, just real quick. I just want to show you something real quick. Make sure when you do this, this is the order in which you do it. And try to show them, hey, you could do these things
Sure.
to help them out too. So
Make
so
sure
that
you
they don't
only
miss it.
do that if you're confident, though. Like if you're like, I have done the research, I know this is actually how it works, and not just like, oh, this is how I think it should work. Because there are way too many people who misread a card and like will just say it like definitively, like, no, this is how it works, and you're wrong. So yeah, make sure like you're actually confident and like you've done the research and fact checked with somebody before you start correcting people.
Okay, next question is from Nick Nackety. Nick Nackety said, with set 2 being an upgrade-themed set, how do you think they're planning to make upgrades more viable? Right now, it feels super hard to play into cunning or aggression since units get bounced or upgrades get defeated. He says this, I'm with Jay that upgrades feel real bad right now other than Snapshot, which feels okay. Do you think we will see a leader that protects units from being bounced or protects upgrades or something like that to help upgrades in set 2?
Interesting. Like a ward mechanic, like, hey, to target this with something, you have to spend extra resources, or that'd be interesting.
Yeah, possibly.
I think eventually, like if we have shields already, I could see some sort of protect mechanic available to keep your guy from being targeted outside of like attacks, maybe. But I think it's kind of the risky run right now. Like a lot of them are like really good stats that you're adding to this unit. Making the unit like really tall, potentially able to attack twice, those type of things is really strong. So that being easily counterable is probably like for a good reason. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they'll add something to it. That's kind of where my brain
It's a
went.
really fine balance because you can't make upgrades too strong because then against decks that just don't have any kind of upgrade hate, it's just way over the curve. But you also have to make them strong enough that people want to play them. And it's not a game where you take your whole turn. It's a back and forth. So putting an upgrade down and then your opponent immediately answering it feels bad. Where in a game like Magic, you can put an upgrade on something and then immediately attack with it. It feels, yeah, I don't know how they're gonna make upgrades better, to be honest. Especially with more upgrade hate is not gonna do that.
The like when played abilities like on upgrades though I think helps a lot. So it's like you're still getting like a minor bonus for it,
Like,
even if it's not
Vader
the full
Saber,
value.
Luke Saber,
Yeah, things
Snapshot
like
reflexes.
that don't feel bad because you're still getting some value even if they were able to counter it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, it is interesting. I do think if you're going upgrade, I think you have to think about what answers they could have. And so if you know they're playing Fang Fighters and you play an upgrade when they still have 3 ready resources, well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's on you. I mean, that's more of learn to play. Like I obviously play a lot of Cheer, a lot of Jedi lightsabers, and I'm constantly aware of possible options because in the same way that I'm also aware of, hey, listen, if I'm playing against blue and they have 4 resources, I probably won't deploy Chirrut yet because I know he just gets hit with takedown. So I do think it's a lot of learning the ebb and flow of this game and playing them only when it gives you value, not when you're just walking right into a trap, which feels real bad. And I think you do it once or twice and you learn and then you don't do it again. But I think yeah, when play triggers, or even like we saw on Mandalorian reveal, you play an upgrade and you get to exhaust something, so you got value out of an upgrade, even if that upgrade gets Fang Fighter off. So
Yep.
I think we'll see that be a thing, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what like you mentioned Devotion, Jay. Like you've been playing a ton of Devotion. Like what upgrades actually rise to the top? Because we could have this ebb and flow of the meta too, where like everyone starts playing upgrades in set 2, so all the Fang Fighters and Confiscates start getting main decked, and then everyone stops playing upgrades, so those end up sideboard. So then everybody starts playing them again, and then you just and that's what I like about these games, where there's just every weekend and there's a big tournament won by something, everybody reacts, and then everyone reacts the other way, and it's just I think it's fun. So
yeah, and Aggression is a crazy card. I've been playing against Sabine, double red Sabine as Churret, and in that matchup, I resource my Devotions, Lightsabers, and Electrostaffs. Like, I'm not playing them into your Aggression that removes 2 upgrades. Flipping Churret, putting 2 things on them, and then the Aggression and kill it. It's like, okay, it's just, you can't walk into that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that'll do it for us today. Thanks so much for joining the Conversation Lab, guys. Any final thoughts?
No, not today.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.